Meet the Stolfa family of Schaumburg, Illinois. Bill, his wife Barbara, and their three sons Nick, Ron, and Jim are the proud builders of this beautiful layout located in their home's 14 by 13.5 foot utility room. The layout is full of magical scenes like this and features highly detailed structures and fantastic lighting. It's based on what's familiar to the Stolfa family, scenes from the Chicago area. Bill explains how he got involved in O-gauge railroading, the history leading to the present layout, and takes us on a tour of its interesting scenes and highlights.
We just had a train around the Christmas tree, and then later when we moved to a house on Monroe Street, my father and I built a full-time, full year-round layout. So at that time I was about 10 years old, and then I did that continually to I was about 16 or 17. And then after that, I put them in boxes, put them away, got married, reopened them again when the kids were younger. And as they got older, we built this layout. This layout was built in 1976. It's an L-shaped layout. One dimension's 12 feet long, the other way is 10 feet long, and it's approximately 6 feet wide. Put the floor down first, put the train set together, then after that, we worked on it as a family. Each of us had a little job to do and was either designing it, first of all, and building the houses and getting the appropriate cars and details. Usually Dad did it, and then they started they were old enough then to get their own ideas and put it in place, do their own construction and their own drilling and what have you. Originally we had the upper level separate from the lower level. In other words, it was a loop by itself, and that's all it did. It just looped around in the basic pattern. But as it grew, we extended the layout and were able to make it descend and ascend. I have some engines and cars that are put away in boxes, and I usually take those out around Christmas time, but what's down here is all new from 1976 on. We have kind of not a forced perspective, but a forced angled perspective. If you were looking at an O-scale building, it's super wide, but if you're looking at it from an angle, it takes on a tendency to be a little skinnier, and that's kind of the viewing dimensions we have as a cutoff. We have about 6 inches deep is our cutoff for width. So we try to duplicate what we see in real life. The neighborhood I grew up in, I try to copy that a little bit. The downtown area where you have the old-fashioned street lights. The residential area, we have the mercury vapor lights. On the rural section or industrial section, we have a highway which has no lights. So by doing that, it makes it look bigger than it really is. Right behind me, over my left shoulder, is the downtown version of the L station platform, which I scratch built. It's got a individual plank floor, which is really a carved piece of balsa wood, which is weathered. There's people that are waiting for the trains to come. There's a receptacle for garbage. There's a newsstand to pick up newspapers. There's a guy running up the stairs. And there's a ticket office that's at the very bottom. So I kind of followed the colors that I saw in the photograph and used it in my way of making it fit the layout, which is a little difficult, but it worked out all right. We go down to the lower level. We've got the A&P food store, and it's got a full interior. Just traveling up a little ways, there's the Hudson, which is the car dealership. There's an actual 2 Hudsons and a Nash inside there. And then on the corner is the hobby store, which again has got full detail. And rounding the corner is the TV store, which has got a TV in the window. Across the street from that is the White Castle, and that's got car hops on roller skates. They got 2 people sitting down having a drink and a burger. Then as you take the path continuing on, you get into the park area where there's a lagoon. People are swimming, fishing, and boating, and sunbathing, and the like, and there's joggers. Then taking it over to the end of the parkway is the Roselle Station, which is patterned after a station in this area. And then coming forward again is the operating gates that Nick scratch built. There's a Phillips 66 sign that is right in front of the station, which is patterned after a Phillips 66 sign of the Illinois Central Railroad that's in their yards. that was scratch built by myself. But part of it was a kit. The structure itself was scratch built, so it was never meant to be a tower, but I made it a tower matching the photograph I found. Then up the ways is the Union Pacific warehouse, which is very interesting. It's scratch built and designed by my son Ron. Upon lifting the roof, you can see a tremendous amount of detail inside there. We have two different people that are on hand trucks and a lot of skid work, and there's even a desk with a calendar above it. And back in the furthest corner is Union Station, which again was designed and built by Ron, and it's got a full interior detail too. Across the street from that is Antonia's, which is a restaurant that Jim copied from the Wrigleyville building, and we made it into an Antonia's Pizzeria, which is made after my mother, who was famous for her homemade pizza. Very proud of that. And Jim designed the logo that's on the side of the building, which has got Antonia's Pizza. It's a picture of the actual pizza that my wife made. My wife had the recipe, so she made it, and we took a picture of that, and Jim incorporated it into a photograph and for a billboard. There's a school and a church which are associated together. I named the school after my high school, St. Mel, and there's priests and nuns in the front, and the school kids are exiting for the day. In the back, they're on swings, and they're on slides, and they're on merry-go-rounds. A lot of the details are kids. Those are all placement by my son Jim. He's the guy that's in charge of the people placement.
Lionel Command Control is used to operate the trains, and son Nick has done 3 conversions to existing locomotives as the system has evolved. The entire family participates in the hobby in one way or another.
My family, the Thompsons, are represented on the train set too, because Frank Thompson is my father, and that's his hardware store over there. I give my opinion here and there, little ideas, like a little light for the park. I figured you needed a street light in the park there.
Barbara says she had insight into Bill's future railroad plans even before they were married.
I had a little inkling, because when I was going out with him, he had a train set in his house in Monroe Street, and nothing like this, but a few times I helped him make new tunnels, and he kept on changing things, and I had a little inkling of what life might be ahead of me.
Twin brothers Jim and Ron, both graphic artists, share the design and construction of structures, the placement of people to create scenes, and the graphic design of a backdrop, which is currently a work in progress.
Computer generated in Photoshop, scanned images of Chicago, and they're photo retouched and skewed to make it look like the same perspective as a viewer, and they're going to be meshed in with from the old scale looking buildings in the front to a false perspective of then scale, HL and scale went into like cutouts of false cutout photographs, and up to the sky, and that'll be one big like printed out Photoshop image. I wanted to get first the three-dimensional false front backdrop ones, and then work my way forward into the background, which would be two-dimensional cutouts, and possibly there'll be lit and other things that'll be attached to it.
Jim and Ron have created very believable scenes using scale people, and on occasion have customized figures to fit specific situations.
Started with plastic fill people from the past, and later on other manufacturers come out like Chrysler, and they're realistic. A lot of people we have are Chrysler. A few other ones are here and there. Other manufacturers, they're kind of customized. Like one was one walking a dog was customized. Sunbathers too. There was at the time we bought, there were not many sunbathers for the pool, and he went to little details like that. My dad also he had the idea of making little scenes of people like kids running to the get ice cream, and also teenagers talking to on the porch. So they had little segments of moments in time, like trying to, like everywhere you look, you have something to see, and as a little, like a moment of freeze frame of even a time period.
The twins are responsible for most of the layout's 35 structures, and have even scratch-built 7 of them. One of the most difficult projects was the building housing Antonia's Pizza.
A building like that was a nice, interesting corner building, very unique, and decided to model it. It's a turret design. Not many companies model something like that, so it's quite unique to do something like that. I thought it'd be fun to do, and it was challenging. kind of work together with each other. Like for instance, I designed some buildings or come up with an idea with them, and sometimes we follow, he pick up on what I designed, and sometimes and vice versa with that. And like the grocery store, like that had to be altered from a kit. It was the false front, and it had to add dimensions to it, so make a freestanding building. So I had windows to it and actually interiors to it, and it actually lights up. And my other brother lit up the interior to it, so now it has a interior and people and so on, and, little signs and so on, with as much detail I can add to as possible.
Bill's youngest son, Nick, the electronics expert, has added lights, signs, signals, and other additions to the layout. One of his major accomplishments was the design and construction of the Magikist sign, a famous Chicago landmark that no longer exists.
It's a scratch-built sign consisting of about 250 LEDs. They all turn on in sequence by a circuit I designed to make them turn on and off in the appropriate way as the real sign did. It's just filled with close to about 250 red rectangular LEDs that are all stacked in vertical columns that all turn on roughly in sequence as the sign did. I scratch-built a set of traffic signals, and I went all the way down to the detail of putting left turn arrows in there, walk and don't walk signs. I added the chase lights to the theater by install about 130 miniature light bulbs in there. I also installed a fluorescent light behind there to backlight the marquee board. It is driven by another circuit I designed to make the marquee lights flash in sequence with their impartial step where 2 lights are illuminated and 1 light is illuminated, and the next step is 2 illuminated and 1 is illuminated, and so on. And one of another little projects I did is to install a sign on a restaurant. It's the Little Gem Diner, and it has a starburst effect light, which is about some 25 bulbs crammed in a little circle. It's illuminated on both sides there, and it is driven by a circuit I designed to make them pulse inward and outward like that repetitiously. The lettering itself is illuminated with a electroluminescent backlight material trimmed to fit, and the letters are printed out on acetate. I also put together these kits for block signals and make them light up with circuitry I have to design myself.
The layout is absolutely incredible when viewed scene by scene. Just look at the detail in this setting. 2 people are talking inside the station. There's a Coke machine with bottles stacked beside it, a tire's on display, and the attendants busy filling a 1949 Ford wagon. An Illinois Central commuter train makes a stop at the Monroe Street station, which was scratch-built by Bill Stolfa. The train is soon underway, headed to its next stop. One wouldn't expect a small layout of this size to offer much in the way of switching, but it does. In fact, there are 2 industrial spurs, this one and the one serving the Swift meat packing house on the upper loop. A CB&Q switcher has coupled onto an empty boxcar and will pull it off the spur. Just when you think it wouldn't be possible to add any more railroading to this room, Bill quickly disputes that notion. Here's a surprise. There's more track under the table. Bill pulls their space and military layout from underneath. This very small pike fits into a 4x6 foot table and rolls on 6 casters. The layout features space and military trains and accessories from post-war and current Lionel production. There are many military vehicles displayed, including tanks, jeeps, trucks, and lots of missiles. 2 trains are on the layout, and they run on Super O track and turnouts. Bill designed the track work, Ron did the scenic details, and Nick did the lighting and wiring. But overall, this is Ron's project.
It's all Lionel, and it deals with the air and space era that took place between 1959 and late 60s, and it deals with all even some of the reissued things, the rocket launchers and the missile launching boxcars. Some of these are the originals, and some have been been repainted to fit kind of a custom trains here, like Marines and the Army and the Air Force. They're all operational, and something I saw as a like 10-year-old, I saw a lot of stuff that linemen never made before that I wish that they had at the time. Now they came back with, like the exploding boxcar, the missile launching boxcar. So pretty much have all that took place in the past, and some are reissued too.
A family layout like this is a great idea. The love of O-gauge railroading bonds the Stolfa family because it's a project that never ends. They're constantly discussing new ideas, buying new products, or simply just having fun operating trains. This is a great way to keep everyone happy and look forward to returning home again and again.